So Misti went X today. So we're going to take a look at that and see where it's at on the charts and see if it's up, down, and if we're near resistance or supports. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So Misti did go X today, and we will be paying out that distribution tomorrow. Well, depending on your broker, it may not show up in your account on Friday. It may actually be Monday, and in some cases, it could be even Tuesday before it actually shows up in your broker account. But either way, YMAX Misti will be paying out tomorrow. So let's just go right over to my chart and check out Misti to see where it's at. And are we at a support or resistance lines? So here I've got Misti pulled up on the charts. And as you can see, the drop today, right, because it did pull out that distribution out of the price. Yesterday's close was at $25.12, and the open today was at $23.41. So there had to be some upward movement after hours, of course, in MSTR that pushed Misti up, because that's less than the $2.30 some that we get paid out on Friday. Because after hours or pre-market, you do have movements, right? So that price could be less than the distribution on X, and again, it could be even more than the distribution. It just really depends on what the underlying did. So to get a better idea here, and we'll come back to Misti, but let's look at MSTR. So here we are on MSTR, and as you can see, yesterday's close was at 392.48, and we opened at 408.17 before closing at 414.38. We did hit a high there of 423.11. So this thing was on a nice little move up. And as you can see, we had that resistance line right here where that was kind of basically our top that we needed to break. And what did MSTR do? Well, on opening, it popped up and it opened at that 408.17, and this line that we have here is 403.90, which is the top of this candle here of that wick. So we opened above it, so that's a good sign, right? Now hopefully we can use that line as a support line now with MSTR, and if that's the case and we can stay above that 403.90, we can see this to continually move up. But as we know, MSTR is really a Bitcoin play. So let's just check to see how Bitcoin is doing. Well, can you say on fire? Because wow, look at this. Yesterday's close, 99,176 was the close yesterday. Currently, right now, it is at 103.60 with a high of 104.192. This thing is on fire. It did break above this roughly about a 98K line right here. We shot right past that resistance, and we've made a high right there. And if we look on this zoomed out chart right here, you can see we had around about, looks like the first of this year, we were at 109.455. So 109K, and right now we're at 103K. So we are creeping right on up, and looks like we're headed for that high. So super excited about that. And that is what is really pushing MSTR up here. With that huge jump up, we went, like I said, from that 392 up to as high as 423. Crazy move, right? Super excited about that. And of course, our Misti play had a nice little green candle here. Now, as you'll see here, we've got this candle where it closed yesterday up here above and right there at that resistance line, right? Closed pretty close to that resistance line before dropping down here. It dropped due to the distribution payout. And that is because all distributions come out of the price of the stock, right? So if you get paid $2, then $2 comes out of the price at the beginning of the X date. And if you own shares yesterday, being Wednesday, before market close, then you will be in line and eligible for that distribution. But I just wanted to point out, when you see this candle here and this candle here, you'll see that big drop, but that is just due to the distribution coming out of the price. And that's the reason for me, I don't necessarily want a really huge distribution, just simply because I don't necessarily want that price of Misti to keep dropping. I'd like to keep it in the 20s. I'd like to see it going on up into the 30s and 40s. That'd be great. But I definitely don't really want to see it get below the 20s. And that's just simply because as that price of that stock drops, so does the distribution amounts as well. And you can look at other YMAX ETFs and you'll see that is a very common factor. As that price of that stock drops, so does that distribution amount, right? Now, the percentage-wise could be high, but think about it. 10% of a $30 stock is $3, but 10% of a $5 stock is 50 cents. So your distribution, if it was 10%, which is good, right? For a 1 month or 4 weeks, 10% on your money, that's really good money. But if you're only getting 50 cents because the stock price is so low, then your distribution total that you're actually receiving, the dollar amount, is lower versus 10% of that $30 where you're getting $3 per share. So that's why, and the only reason why I want Misti stock price to stay up. Not necessarily because I don't care about the price. I'm just in it for the distributions. I don't care about the price, but I have to care about the price because as that price goes down, so does the amount of my distribution. And if we're in it for the distributions, we got to keep that stock price up as well. So far, the Misti managers, I feel, has done pretty good job here. They're keeping that price in the 20s, and I would like for that to be the low, right? I would like to see it get back up here in this high 20s to 30s. I would love to see it get back up in here and start living up in here. And as Bitcoin is rising, it's very possible that we could see that. But as you can see here, even over here on this percentage, looks like it's showing about a I'll round it to 3.5, right? 3.5%. is what the gain was on Misti. And then you look over here on MSTR and you're looking at a 5.5%. So as far as in price appreciation and price movement, MSTR is going to outperform Misti pretty much every single time, right? Because Misti is always going to lag MSTR just simply because it cannot capture all of those movements, especially when you have big movements like what we had today for MSTR, where we jumped $21, almost $22 just during the market hours here. And as you can see, after hours, it's up another $7. Now that is after hours, so that doesn't mean that it'll be that high come tomorrow. But when you're gaining 5.5% on MSTR, and on Misti you're only gaining 3.5, that's why. Because Misti is always going to lag because of the covered calls. Covered calls works great if the stock isn't moving too quickly. If it moves too quick, it shoots past the strikes and we lose a little bit of money on those, right? But that's okay because that is just part of selling calls. Now, do we earn the distribution, and does that make up for that difference in the price appreciation that MSTR shows? I doubt it, right? I doubt it. But here's the big difference, because you're thinking at that point, now you're thinking, well, if that's the case, why not just invest into MSTR and the heck with Misti, right? Because it's always going to lag. I would be better off buying MSTR and earning the money, right? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, and I'm not saying that you should. But for Misti, it's a different play, right? It's a play. It's a different play altogether. It is an income play for me. For me, this is an income. This is a amount of money that will pay me every 4 weeks. Versus Mr., I would have to sell the shares, buy the shares, be in and out of it, right? And I would say that the Misti, with the income coming in, that would be more predictable, but we know that's not the case, right? Because we'll range from $1.30 to close to $3, right? So you're all over the place even on the distribution. But again, that is income. So that is something that is constantly coming in. And once I get my shares paid off and I'm in it for free and clear, then I can use those distributions and I can buy more Misti, or I can buy more of a different stock altogether. But any shares that I would buy from Misti, I would be using the YMAX money and not my money. So therefore, once my shares are paid off and I don't buy any more shares than what Misti pays me in distributions, I have no skin in the game at that point, right? Because I am using the YMAX distribution Misti money to buy shares at that point. Now, if I do that before I'm got my shares paid off, then you're not necessarily increasing your risk because you're only buying shares of what they're paying you, but you still have your initial risk that you use to purchase those shares up front. So for me, I still buy shares here and there, but I'm really trying to focus on getting my shares paid off so that I then can have 100% free passive income so that I can then buy more shares of Misti, increase my share count, therefore hopefully increasing my distribution income coming in at no cost to me. So I'm trying to recapture my risk as quick as I can, and then I'm going to let Misti start funding itself with zero risk for me. So anyway, so I just wanted to show where we were at on Mr. and Misti, and just to recap there, we are on top of that previous resistance line. I'm hoping that is now our support line, and we can just take off from that point and go, go, go. And with Bitcoin at just under 103 now, that is awesome. Awesome. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video, it'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.